Hi. Most of you wouldn't know me from a hole in the ground, never heard of me. That's fine. Like a lot of you, I live in a small town in BC, in the interior. A small town with problems. Now, there's a group of people in this town, well, you know what I'm talking about. Some of the not so friendly, not so nice people that live on the street or hang out on the street. Some of them are homeless, and some of them are just little felons, and some of them are drug addicted, and some of them have mental health issues, and some of them are afflicted by all four of those things. And as I see in Vernon and Maple Ridge and other places, there's a real problem with the homeless and the way that things are being dealt with, and that's the way that you feel. Now, my town's got an issue here with, of course we have an issue with homeless, but also BC Housing is coming in and they're putting in supportive housing, and where they're putting it in is got a lot of people upset. And of course, probably yourselves have people in your groups that are upset for various reasons. I may not agree with a bunch of you, and I was going to share this with my local group, but I think they're a bit upset with me now, so I'm just going to share it with all of you because I don't know whether they'd pass this on. But I know that they've been reaching out. They've been reaching out, and in the tagline at the end of the one post that I've seen where they're reaching out to a group, they say, "Let's band together to take down BCH." Well, I understand your frustration with BCH. They're a crown corporation. And they pretty much, let's see, people have called them heavy-handed, and that they don't take into account the desires of local people. They don't go and talk to local people when they make decisions, and I'm sure in some areas they don't. They haven't here because they did private purchases of private land that was zoned the way they wanted it to, and City Council couldn't do much about it. But I know that there's people who want our City Council to fight like hell and keep BC Housing from bringing in their supportive housing project. Like I said, I may not agree with you all on that, but I have a suggestion, and if you just give me a minute, maybe you'll find some value to my suggestion. It goes like this. I've been covering local politics here for 13 years. I've been to more city council meetings than anybody who sits on council, I'm pretty sure. And not that I'm an expert on government, and I'm sure not an internet expert on housing first initiatives and four pillars like some in the group here say they are. I'll admit I'm not an expert, but I'm maybe a little bit better at getting the word out and communicating. And well, first off, taking on BC Housing, here's a couple of problems with that. One, they're a crown corporation, so they are a more higher and powerful level of government than any of your city councils. Two, it would be expensive. And I don't know about your town, but my town really does not have the extra money needed to fight an unwinnable fight in a court of some sort. Like, we do have pressing problems beside the homeless. I've seen some in our group here who say it's either all four pillars or no pillars, and well, I don't think housing is part of the official four pillars, but like I said, I'm not an internet expert on that. And whether or not you agree with me or I agree with you has nothing to do with what I'm about to suggest. What I'm about to suggest works like this. I see people on a regular basis who get upset with something that's going on, and they think that local government can do something about it. Usually they can't, but they come down and they complain to council. Sometimes they beat up on council, and quite often, like I said, it's not something that council can actually do something about. Now, if you all go down to your council, like I've heard that people here have, people in Vernon have, etc., to complain about this, I understand your angst. I do. I get it. But what's council going to do about it? Council doesn't do housing. Council doesn't do addictions treatment. Council doesn't do mental health. Council doesn't do policing, and council doesn't run courts. Now, when I hear you complaining, or you, not you, but generally the complaints that I hear run the gamut. And, you know, if you're going to reject any housing at all, unless all of the other things are in place, it's going to take a long time for you to get all those things in place, because all those things are done by different organizations with their own political machinery that they have to worry about higher up, and limited resources given to the people who are down on the bottom. So here's my suggestion. It's simple. If you want to get the attention of the people in Victoria who can make decisions about mental health and housing, if you want to get attention of the people in Ottawa, I'm talking about the higher levels of RCMP, that you say don't give the local RCMP enough support or manpower or whatever to do their job well, or if you want to get the attention of the people in Victoria in the Ministry of Justice to stop having the courts be a revolving door for all these reprobates, or whatever you want to call them. There's nasty terms that you've used. I'm not going to get into that. I never ever see you, I mean you being the population in my area anyways, I never see you out in front of the police station protesting that policing is inadequate. I never see you out in front of the courts protesting that the courts are too slow, not well served, etc., etc. I never see you out in front of any offices of Interior Health complaining that Interior Health is not giving the kind of support needed for these problems to all these smaller communities. And I don't know where BC Housing has their offices, but because they don't have an office in our town, people choose to beat up on City Council, which is not part of BC Housing. So here's my suggestion. You've waited this long. Here's my suggestion. It's simple. You want to get media attention? You want those people to sit up and take notice? Do it differently. Be more effective in your protest. If you're going to bandy together to take on these big concerns, do it this way. If on a given day, the same day, at exactly the same time, in communities throughout BC where the RCMP is the police force, and most of them are, I believe, if you all got out in front of your local detachments, 15 people here, 25 there, 50, 150, whatever, if you all got out and did a protest march, stay off their grounds, do it on the public thoroughfare, don't stop, just keep moving, be legal and be nice to them, but let Ottawa know that you want Ottawa to give more support to your RCMP detachment. If all of BC did that on the same day, what do you think? The media is going to ignore that? No way, man. The media would pick that up, and in Ottawa they'd hear about it. Next day or the next week, do exactly the same thing in front of every Interior Health office, and if there's no actual office, well, pick a facility, a hospital or whatever, and get out and protest en masse at the same time everywhere. It worked in the States for the women protesting against Trump. Well, he's still there, but they got international media attention. And then go and do it in front of the courts. Go and do it in front of BC Housing offices. Or if there is no BC Housing office, I guess you could pick the government agent, because they are an organ of, in a sense, the province, but also the Crown. And that would be effective. That would take your protest efforts and magnify them, and they would sit up and take notice of that. Because I'll tell you what, those people in Ottawa and Victoria, when they hear about, if they hear about a protest that's beating up some poor city council in Vernon or Grand Forks or some other small town, if they hear about it, they're probably going, whew, we dodged that one. At least they aren't picking on us. Pick on them. I mean, really, if you want those supports in your community, your council can't do it for you. They can't. They don't have the power. BC Housing does not run drug treatment facilities, detox facilities, mental health facilities. In our region, it's Interior Health. I imagine on the island, it's island health and coastal health, whatever. And of course, in so many communities in BC, the police are the RCMP, and their bosses are in Ottawa. And this is the way to make sure that all the way over in Ottawa, they'll hear us. That's a made in Grand Forks solution. A made in Grand Forks solution. Now, all I'm doing is taking the same kind of organizing efforts that they used in the States, that was used by people in the Arab Spring, and asking you to consider doing that. There you go. That's my suggestion. Good luck with that. And if you choose to do it, please don't ask me to have anything to do with organizing it or whatever, because, I have an awful lot of things that I do in my community, and I'm busy. There you go. I'm Wes from Grand Forks, and that's it.